Hi, everyone. Welcome to another amazing topic of conversation. I want to thank my sponsors, the Health Channel. So everything related to health, please sign up for their newsletter. And if you need a workspace, then Alexa's workspace will accommodate regardless if you need 1 hour, 1 month, or 1 year. So welcome, Glenn and Charles. It is a pleasure to have you both with me today.
I believe the pleasure is ours.
So my first question for you guys, because this is a very interesting conversation, especially for women, is that you guys created a product that has been like a game changer for women, especially overcoming the symptoms related to menstrual cycle. So my first question to you guys is, how do two guys get involved in a women's menstrual cycle to try to help and not anything else?
We love our women, and that's the primary driving force for us. We saw a problem. I saw a problem because my granddaughter was 9 years old, and she was suffering terribly with her cycle, and there was not much I could do. I come from the background of magnetic therapy. I tried everything to help her, and it was hit and miss. And then finally, one day, I created a product that was small enough so that she could wear it, and effective enough that it really did help her. But it took time. This is over years. So I took away a considerable amount of her pain for the first couple of years. And then all of a sudden,
how did you, what was the device?
I created a magnet made out of a special material that's called neodymium iron boron, and very, very powerful. So I wanted to be careful because she was young. I told her to place it on her tummy. And at first we did it with tape, and it helped her. Wherever she had a pain in her tummy from the period pain, she just placed that on that area, and it really did help. It took away a lot of her pain. Then later on, we came up with a clip, so that if you took this little clip, this little flat disc, and placed it on the outside of her panties with the magnet on the inside and on the body, she didn't have to worry about tape, and it really worked very nicely. Later on, I was reading about acupressure, acupuncture meridians, and realized that there was a spot on the wrist. And Glenn will get into that later. But there's a spot on the wrist that they were using for seasickness. It's called a C-band. People going on ships, going on airplanes to get nauseous, they put that on their wrist, and away you go. So I taped it on her wrist, and it got considerably better. The pain was reduced by probably 95%, which was remarkable, because
with a magnet on her wrist and also on her belly, or just on her wrist?
Just on her wrist, the inside of her wrist, right here.
Okay.
And ultimately that led to a bracelet. We used Velcro at the beginning, all kinds of ways to put a magnet on her wrist. That was easy because tape wasn't so great. Irritated her skin. And that probably, because she could adjust it for the pressure, that probably took her pain away, I would have to say, by 100%, which is what it has remained until today.
Before I go with Glenn. You're telling me that you're saying that you used a powerful magnet.
Correct.
What is the difference between a normal magnet and the one that you're using for this?
Well, you can, if you want a really good scientific explanation, we have our engineer sitting here, Glenn.
Hey.
So
I guess it's now I guess it's Glenn's.
Well, there's a few
turn.
different. Yeah.
But before you go into it, I just want to say a little bit of stats, because it was reported that menstrual symptoms have affected women, with a report of 45% reporting that their symptoms require them to skip work.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, when I was little, I remember at least skipping school once or twice a month because of that. So it is a real issue. It is a real problem that women have. So if you guys come up with a solution, I guess you're going to hear the blessings of many, many, many women out there.
Amen.
Yes.
So Glenn, tell me, how does it work? Tell me the engineering.
Okay.
Explain to us why it's not something that we see out there that they advertise that it's not useful.
So there's two main differences. Okay, one is the magnetic strength. So your average kitchen magnet, or if you see these magnetic bracelets that people sell, there's a measurement called Gauss, and that's the strength of the magnetic field. So you can think about that in the same way that when you listen to the stereo, it has a volume. It's just the strength of the field. And your kitchen magnet might be in the range of 300 or 400 for a decent kitchen magnet. We're in the range of about 4,000.
Oh, wow.
That's the first part. But the second part is this, and you can see that kind of close up. You see the rings here?
Yeah.
Okay. A kitchen magnet is like a regular magnet. It has a north and a south. Our rings alternate polarity. So against the body, the inner ring and the outer ring are facing south, and the ring in the middle is north. And what happens is, in your body, your nervous system in the median nerve and that junction, the PC6 junction that Charlie was talking about earlier, they see a gradient change. And what that means is the suddenly there's a north, and then there's a very quick alternation, and you go south and north and south and north. And that is the key to how this is working with the body. We interact with the body's nervous system in a way that actually produces a pain relieving sensation, in the same way that acupressure or acupuncture interacts with the nerves. But we're doing it with the magnetic field. If we were to take these same magnets and just have a single solid magnet, okay, that was just all north or all south, we wouldn't get the effects that we have.
So nothing would happen.
Well, we wouldn't have the level of the effect. And we've had to find a balance, because for some people, if we went a little stronger with the magnetic field, it would actually be too much. So when a woman puts this on, there's no instant relief. It takes about 20 minutes for most women to start feeling it. And then what's interesting is if they were to take it off, it's the same thing. It isn't like a light switch. So we've had women that have actually tested this for us with that. You know, they put it on, they got relief, and then the next month they decided, well, let me see what's really going on. And they'd put it on and they'd start to feel better, and they'd take it off, and 15 or 20 minutes later, the symptoms would come back and they would put it on. So there's this delay in how the body reacts to the magnetic fields.
So are there any side effects?
We have not had any side effects whatsoever. So when you put it on, aside from basically having what's like a watch on the inside of your wrist, that's the only thing that changes in your life. You can go about all of your activities just the way you normally would. And different women get different levels of relief. Some get 100%, some are more in the 50%. On average, we're about 75% relief. And if you think about it, think about when you were growing up or in the past when you've had those sort of pains, or if you think about having a really bad headache. It'd be great if that headache went away completely. But if you could get 75% of that headache to go away, you could function. So for a lot of women, there are women that have debilitating cramps to where they literally, they can't get out of bed, they can't go to work. There's a lot of women that also have a lot of cramping, a lot of pain. It may not be to that level, but it still interferes with their ability to do all of the things that they do in life, whether it's go to work or take care of a family or just enjoy their day. And for those women, if just like if you had a really bad headache, if we can give you 50 or 75% relief, it lets you then get up, go to work, have a decent day, have a lot more energy at the end of the day, because as you know, when you're in pain, it's draining.
Yeah, it's draining.
Very draining. So it's not just the pain, but what that does to you during the course of a day and how that affects all the other things that you're doing.
Have you tried this with any other pains? Like what you said, like headache or backache or any other? Or did you just concentrate it on menstrual pain?
No, what led us early on to actually going with the wrist is Charlie's wife Lily had shoulder pain, and we were able to put that on the wrist. And we have studies, I don't remember exactly which one it is, but if you look at our website, you'll see the University of Washington study. They used static magnetic fields to help shoulder pain. So one of the things that's interesting is that you can actually treat pain without that area. Again, much like acupuncture or acupressure, or when you wear the bands that push on that part of your wrist to help you with seasickness.
Okay.
You're affecting a portion of the body that's not exactly where you put the magnet.
No, you're affecting one of the nerves.
Yes. So that's why when Charlie first started, what made sense was to put the magnets on your tummy where the pain is. And that was helpful. We had our magnets, just like what you see here and what Charlie described. Nova Southeastern University did a test using our magnets on the tummy, and we were right about 72% had meaningful pain relief. But we're closer to 90% or a little above by going on the wrist. When we moved it to the wrist, we seem like we're interacting better with the body and the body's nervous system to where we're getting kind of a whole body relief. One of our early web developers She never had cramps or any problems until she had children. And for some reason, after she had children, she started getting, cramps on her cycle, but she also started getting migraines. And it took care of the migraines as well as the tummy cramps in her. We've not done a lot of studies with women that have had migraines. This was just one of the ladies.
Like a
symptoms
side.
were a little different. Yeah, she actually told me she had to teach a class, and before class she got out, I don't know what particular pain medicine she takes, because she knew that was going to be coming on, but she had stopped by and picked up one of our early prototypes, and she put that on, and at the end of class she realized she didn't have a headache, she didn't have pain, and her 2 pills that she normally takes for pain were still sitting on her desk.
It's interesting. The question you asked, Glenn, is very important, because we don't know a lot about a lot of things. But I can tell you that for myself, I had shoulder surgery back in 2018, and the pain was excruciating. And I cannot take pain medicine. It just really bothers me for many reasons. So one day while I was working, I took that bracelet, I put it on my wrist, and I was on my way to physical therapy. When I got to physical therapy, they have these measurements that they take, how many percent better, worse. Anyway, they measured me. I'd forgotten that I put it on my wrist. I got there and they said, okay, today is the day where we evaluate whether or not how many more appointments you have. When they measured me, my range of motion was so much better. They said, how is this possible? Did you get an injection before you came here? And I said, no. What did you do different? I said, the only thing I did is put this bracelet on. And sure enough, so we took the bracelet off, waited 10 minutes, and my arm was back to no range of motion whatsoever. But it increased my range of motion, took away my pain. Does it always work for that shoulder when I'm in a lot of pain until today? No, not always.
It doesn't? Like,
No.
why does it vary?
That's a question. We don't know. We're dealing with all kinds of doctors and specialists all the time in our work. So these are things.
So it's not a constant relief.
Well, for his shoulder pain.
My shoulder.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've not had any women that have reported this helping with pain and then it fluctuates. So the amount of relief they get, so let's say it's 50% or 75 or 100, wherever that is, for those women, that remains constant while they're wearing it. Okay. So if a woman gets 50% relief, then that basically remains constant during the time that she's wearing it. There isn't an up and down. So it's, as Charlie was saying, there's a lot of things about the body that we don't understand. And when I first got involved with this, that was my first question, because part of what I do for a living, I design and develop products, but I also have a forensic engineering consulting firm. So I make a living analyzing technical issues and figuring out what's working, what isn't working, why it's not working. So I'm always curious. First question is, well, how did that happen? And we believe that what we're doing is triggering an endorphin release in the brain, but again, we don't know exactly. At the end of the day, that's why our studies are so important, because what matters is when you actually test something, does it work? If you fully don't understand the mechanism, it's okay. I would bet you that you know what you had for dinner last night. Okay, you probably can remember that, right? There's not a person on the planet that can tell you how you remember it. We just don't understand. We don't understand that mechanism. Yet, I would bet you that you would bet a year's salary that you know what you had for dinner last night. Okay. even though you have no idea how you remember it. Well, that's how we are. When we were putting this on the tummy, we got good results. When we moved to the wrist, we got even better results, and we have some theories on that. But we don't know any more about it. No different than the bands that put pressure on your wrist and they help you with nausea. Okay, we just know it works.
Let me ask you something. Have you noticed any difference, for example, between men and women regarding pain? Or
Well,
it's the same?
we haven't done testing in that area because we've been concentrating on how this works for women. So we've not done testing to see how this works on shoulder pain or back pain, not this
Or
product.
migraine, which
or
is a
migraines.
general.
Yes. And I have no idea. And let's be clear, I do not want to say that this helps with migraines. One thing that's really important for us is that we talk about what we know, and we're very clear on what we don't know. And also, we never want to make any sort of claim that we cannot back up with studies and with science. So when I talked about migraine, this happened to be one woman who was a web developer for us, which that was surprising to me that happened, but we've not done any studies to see if you have migraines and you put this on, does this help? This
What
just happened to be one of the
studies have you done specifically for this product and for women and their cycle?
So we have the formal study that was done at Nova Southeastern, which was our product put on the tummy. Since then, we have been tracking on our own women putting it on their wrist. The Nova Southeastern study, and if you go to our website and you click on the home button, there's two areas that are really important. One is, well, there's how to use, so we have videos on that. There's how it works, which is an overview. And then we also have what we call magnet science, where we list the studies from University of Tennessee, Women's Centers, Nova Southeast, MIT, Baylor, Columbia. We list those studies and we have them on our website, so people can take a look at this on their own.
Okay,
some people don't care, and some people really like to dive into the topic.
Some people really like to dive into. But back to Charles.
Yes.
Yes.
When you were talking about the magnet, the actual strength of the magnet, and we're comparing it to 300, 400% to 4,000. Why or where is this magnet come from? Like, how did you go to finding a magnet of 300 to 4,000?
I've been in the magnet business since 1986. So for me to go find a magnet of any kind is not a problem. Initially, we used to have our magnets made in Germany. And those are the flexible magnets. Those are the ones that Glenn was talking about, where you had just 200-300 Gauss, which is the measurement of magnetic strength, magnetic force.
Those are the ones that we put on the refrigerator with cool messages.
Right. When you put on the refrigerator, if you could look on the inside of that magnet, you see stripes, just alternating fields. That's what keeps it sticking to the refrigerator. That's the magnet that keeps your door closed on the refrigerator.
Okay.
If you're talking about the ones for the refrigerator that you put on the outside for the notes, for the grandchildren or the children's pictures, that's different. That's also a very inexpensive flexible magnet. Now, with the ones that we use, that magnet, the neodymium, is only made today, right now, is only made in China. Because they're the ones that have the facilities to make our product. You can buy neodymium iron boron let's call it Neo to make it shorter. You can buy Neo magnets in the United States, but not with that configuration that we have. So this is a patented, actually a few patents product, a patented product for exactly what we needed to do. We first found out what we needed, then we went hunting for where we can find it. So it's a product that we developed, of course, but that product right now is made in China. We're hoping that that Canada, US, who used to make this kind of product, can come back and do the mining, because it's not a, it's very difficult, very expensive to mine this product. One of the side products that they use is in the electric cars, in the batteries. So we're fighting for that space, you know, give us this, you know. But it's a very superior product that we're able to measure. Glenn has got all the specifications, so whenever the manufacturers make it, he does, in his lab, makes all the determinations as to, is this what we want? Does this pass the test? Is this the right strength? A magnet can have a certain strength at the surface, but what we needed to do is to penetrate. So that's part of the design. We don't need it just to be strong at the surface.
Right.
We also need it to be X amount of Gauss at particular depth. And so that's a short question, long answer.
So guys, if any women want to get your product, where do they go?
They go to medimags.com.
That is MEDIMAGS.
And I will write it. And you know what? I can only say that thank you on behalf of all those women and all those girls that you guys will make a difference in their lives.
Thank you. Thank
So,
you very much.
Thank you, everyone. And above all, stay safe. And until next week, have an amazing day.
Bye-bye.